What's up, Internet? Brandon here. We are back with another episode of Free2Play Weekly. As always, we'll be covering all the games released on Steam for free in the last week. We'll have the Spotlight vote, which is 4 games that are selected to be voted on by you, the viewer, to be played live on Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. There will be a link in the comments to vote on which game you want to see played. We'll cover a couple honorable mentions of games I liked, and then there will be the quick hits, which will go through everything else released this week. As always, I appreciate you being here. If you have anything you want to share or games you like or whatever, comment. And I was happy to see comments below, and I'll comment back. And yeah, let's dive into episode 13. The first spotlight option for this week is Turtle Riders Adventure Begins. This game is a game where you are an archer on the back of a turtle, and you are making your way from the left side of the screen to the right side of the screen while being attacked by various bad guys, and you have a bow that launches arrows on a steady pace. You don't click to shoot, it is a timed shot from the bow, and you have to kind of aim your bow so that when the timed shot goes off, you're hitting the things that are coming to attack you. As you work your way across the map, there will be times where you'll see items that you can interact with. These include like logs that you can chop to collect wood. There's some diamonds you can find and other upgrade items that you can use for like crafting. There's also, when you complete leveling up, you get a bonus, so you can increase your fire rate of your bow, or I had one where like 10% of the time I did multiple shots. So you can do some upgrading, and then as you complete a level, there's a area that you stop in that's like a little town where you can buy or sell upgrades, and you can do some training for experience, and there's a couple other things you can interact with in the town area. And then you can head back out to continue your journey across the land with your bow in hand. It was a good game. I enjoyed the upgrade aspects of it. I think that I missed a lot of stuff from the resource acquisition side of it on my first playthrough because I didn't figure that out until a little later, and so I thought it might be a good one to give a second go at. The next spotlight option for this week is BAPBAP. BAPBAP is an arena battle game where you get to upgrade your hero whenever you don't win a round to be able to kind of claw your way back and to even the score between whoever's the better player and everyone else in the lobby. The arenas were pretty cool. There's a lot of interactable objects. There was like a web that when you broke it, spiders came out of it and fought on your behalf. There were some bombs you could knock around to blow stuff up. And it seemed like there was a good amount of heroes that you can play. I played one game as like a phantom hero who had an evasion ability, and after a while I was able to get some upgrades for some lifesteal. I didn't play great, but I did win one round, so I didn't completely fail. But it's a neat little game where you're battling in an arena with other people and trying to see who can win the most amount of points. There's like a point threshold for winning, and it'll tell you when someone's close, so you can try to like gang up on them if you're in, a more coordinated game where people are like, no, we're going to lose if that person wins. The game I played, there was like 4 people who could win in the last round. Pretty much everyone but me, I think. But it was still fun, so one of the other options for the spotlight vote. Bloodstrike is a good start to a battle royale style game. It plays a little bit like Call of Duty Warzone, where you run around and find chests, and those chests have guns in them that you can pick up, but you can also call loadouts and do other things as you acquire money throughout the round. It's a 4-person team. I didn't actually check to see if you could queue like for a solo game or not, so I just played a 4-person game. I did go back and play a second game. The first time it felt like we were playing against people who either A, didn't know what they were doing, or B, were bots. so I thought maybe it was bots. But I checked out the play stats on the game, and it looks like they have like 4,000 plus players at any given time. So it shouldn't have been a bot game. And so, yeah, we did win. I won my second game I played that I didn't record. There was a little bit of video lag towards the end of the first game. There are an insane number of menus. I think this is just a NetEase thing. They just love menus. But yeah, there's a ton of menus where you get a bunch of free stuff on a number of those menus, and the easiest way to acquire them is try to leave the game. Hit escape, and it'll say, "But you haven't claimed your free thing," and then you click it, and it'll take you to where your free thing is, and you can claim it. And you hit escape again, and it'll be like, "But you haven't claimed your free thing." You can do that like 5 times, because there's so many sub menus that have random free things you can earn. You level guns through usage. So if you loot a gun in the game and get some kills with it, you'll level that gun up, and it'll unlock attachments and stuff. So that's pretty cool. And then you can build your custom guns to be used in your loadouts. So it's a nice battle royale game. I mean, it's not quite as polished as Warzone, but it's a good start. The final spotlight option is Rugby Tycoon, Rugby Rovigo Delta. This is a management simulation game for a rugby team. I always try to have a little bit of variety in these votes just because I never know what the community is going to pick, and this is definitely something that's different than we've done before. There is a ridiculous amount of depth to the management side of this game. There's tons of settings, there's scouting, there's simulating your actual rugby game and hopefully winning, but sometimes losing. There's like stadium maintenance and upgrades. There's staff. There's a stock market, which is most of what I did, was just try to make money on the stock market. So there's a lot of components to this game. And for free, that's, if you're someone who likes deep simulation style games, there's a lot you can do with this game, I feel like. It's not really a genre I've delved into too much, so I didn't really know what I was doing, and half the time it would be like, go look at this menu, and I'd be like, okay, yep, that's cool, and then I would just move on. So if we did pick this, I would have to really lean in on trying to learn what's going on more than I did the first time. But it is out there, and it's a pretty, like I said, deep simulator for, running a rugby team. The first of the honorable mentions for this week is Super Multitasking Go. It's another game where you have to play multiple games at the same time, but I felt like this one was really well done, and each game fit the control scheme for its area. The prior ones I had a hard time trying to get the control scheme down moving from game to game, and this one felt really natural, probably because it was using a controller. The controller made it a lot easier because like bumpers were one game, the joysticks were each their own game, and then the number or the buttons were the last game. So it was a little easier to manage, but I thought it was really well made and pretty challenging to where there was a high skill ceiling if this was something you wanted to try to push to make their leaderboard. Cipheur is a stylistic game where you solve cryptograms that are famous quotes. So they give you a quote set up as a cryptogram, which means letters are swapped out for other letters, and you have to ascertain which letters are swapped out so that you can recreate the quote. And so you try to build words that make sense, looking for like 2-letter words. There's only a certain number of those available. Once you get those, then you can build out other words, and you kind of just work your way through the puzzle of figuring out what letters are where, and if you know the quote, then it's even easier. There was one quote that I knew pretty early on. I was able to figure out which quote it was. So it's a very well-made game. There's a lot of puzzles. I think there's 100 quotes to solve, so there's plenty of time to be had here. And for a free game, I felt like the quality was really good. The final honorable mention for this week is Across Icaria. This game, you play a person who's in a gunship working your way through the sky, and all of the controls are managed via typing. So you have to type to switch weapons, type to reload, type to fire at things, and so it's a lot of typing and a lot of figuring out what you need to type next and how quickly can you type, and it was a very difficult game. Trying to like switch to the cannon, shoot the cannon, switch back to the gun, shoot the gun, reload the gun, reload the cannon. There's just a lot to do. I was playing on the like normal mode and it felt very difficult, but I feel like the control scheme and concept is cool, that it's like typing based and not necessarily like just clicking to shoot things. So I wanted to call it out as an interesting game for this week. And now it's time for quick hits. We've got 21 quick hits for this week, so let's go. Jar. Jar is a game where there's a jar and it fills, and then you click it and it empties, and then it fills, and then you click it and it empties, and it fills, and you click it and it empties, and it fills, and you click it and it empties. What is life? The Lost Desert, aka Cube Game 9X. This is a first-person shooter style game, but there was nothing to shoot at, and I did no clip through pretty much everything on the map in my brief time playing it. Green Revival. Green Revival is an interesting game where you're cleaning up the forest and defeating different bugs. You can plant plants, and each plant that you plant, when you take it over as like a spirit, it has a different attack that you can use. So you have to be strategic in what you plant. Combi. Combi is a game where you slide numbers around a puzzle to add up to the value needed to win. And then you have to place the number on top of that value to like exit the game. It was pretty difficult, but an interesting concept. I got hired to guard the button that destroys the earth. In I got hired to guard the button that destroys the earth, you play someone who got hired to guard the button that destroys the earth. The game is played by not hitting any buttons on your computer unless something happens that you need to hit a button for, and the goal is to last as long as you can not hitting or hitting buttons. Call the Abyss. Call the Abyss is a game where you walk around collecting resources that you can use to summon things to fight for you, and you have to defeat as many waves as you can to last as long as you can, but you can collect things via defeating things or from the ground. Question Bank. Question Bank's a trivia game, but you only get to answer one question per day, which is a real letdown. Pioneers of the Coast. Pioneers of the Coast is a Settlers of Catan style game, but it has random events and the ability to include Fog of War, which is both interesting and makes it hard to be set up well for a game. I also got an achievement for playing a game by myself. Waste Time Lotto. In Waste Time Lotto, you get to pick 4 numbers and wait to see if you hit it. There's also a button you can click that just clicks and adds every time you click, but there is an associated leaderboard if you really want to push for it. Under Ichigo Love Me Baby in Tokyo Super Arena 2025 is both a long title and a game where you play a rhythm type music game using right and left clicks. It was pretty difficult to get the timing down and to get used to like using both fingers to click to time that correctly. Focus Simulator. Focus Simulator is a game where you modify camera settings to get better focus. I don't know anything about camera focus, but it seemed like T-stops were pretty important to making the picture crisper. Craft Punk. Craft Punk is an auto battle game with units that you place and upgrade. You also have skills that you can cast to turn the tide of battle. Each game and through other ways you earn shards of units, and then you can cash those in to craft those units to place on your battlefield. Leucanthemum Eyes. Leucanthemum Eyes is a point-and-click mystery horror game where you go into a tunnel and find yourself coming to without a lot of memory and trying to find a way out of where you are trapped. Dinos TD. Dinos TD was a fun little tower defense game where you can determine the path to defend by placing the path from the start to the finish, and then using different dinosaurs to place as defense, which was pretty fun. Caveman hits giraffe in a car. In this game, you are a caveman who's battling things as they spawn. Leveling up lets you modify your health, attack, or speed after each wave. And then you have to sometimes dodge a giraffe driving a car. Ghosty's Escape. Ghosty's Escape is a platforming escape room with interactable objects within the room you're in that you can utilize to try to find your way out of the room that you are trapped in. Lost City of Bardo. Lost City of Bardo, you walk around a maze and have to complete certain objectives. I don't know. I really wanted to like this game. I like the art style. I thought the labyrinth concept was cool, but I never really found myself knowing what I was doing or why. Cobble the Stone Forager. Cobble the Stone Forager is a very well made short game about a stone golem assisting stranded people in starting a community. You collect resources and help them build up a town that they can live in going forward. Time Lost. Time Lost is an arena style game that has a lot of different weapons and upgrades, but you have to earn them via in game currency. The combat is pretty smooth. It felt ineffective at times, but I think with a little bit of practice, it could be easier to get used to. End Chess Arrow. In End Chess Arrow, you move around a chessboard shooting arrows at the chess pieces that are attacking you. You reload by moving a certain amount, so I think you have to move twice to reload, and you get to purchase upgrades after each game. Akubo VR. Akubo VR is a VR game that I did not play because I do not have my VR setup hooked up right now. But it's described as take your archery training to the next level and practice anytime, anywhere. It does have some comments that there's a subscription model tied to it, so I don't know how free it is, and you have to buy the bow. And that'll do it for episode 13. As always, thanks for hanging out, and we will see you Thursday live for this week's Spotlight.